Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 1, stage 4 of this year's Zwift Racing League. Now we are going up Box Hill as a team in a team time trial. After somewhat of a first easy team time trial, I think Zwift gods are looking at us and saying, just wait, this back half of the Zwift Racing League is going to snap your legs. So let's get into it. So the Zwift Racing League has been quite easy so far, with some great races on some nice courses. Now, this week's team time trial, we will be taking on the Greater London 8, which is a track that I've actually never done before, and realized that, well, it includes Box Hill, so that's tough enough, and this time it says a team time trial. So hopefully your team is in sync to go up a long hill together. Now I am going to categorize this route as flat, somewhat flat, even though there are 280 meters of climbing. Like I've said previously, probably 3 or 4 times at this point, we go up Box Hill and then in turn the Escalator Climb, which peaks at about 17%, or maybe is it 23? I don't quite remember. But only being 24.3 kilometers long, we should see similar times to our first TTT that we saw this year, but maybe just a bit slower because of Box Hill. Now, the question that could be asked, could we see a bike change for Box Hill? Could we see people starting off on aero bikes instead of TTT bikes? Get it out of your head. There's not going to be a single race this season, next season, any season where I would recommend a bike change. Go for a time trial bike and just get in line and ride. Put your pedals down, your feet down, your leg, I don't care. Just do not do a bike swap. It's not ever going to work. Grow up. Just get your team together and ride up the hill on TT bikes. It's not going to be that hard. Alright, so as we take off from the pens, it's nothing too challenging here in London. One of the more easier courses, I would say, in the Zwift universe. Now you're going to start off with a small 3% that will peak into a 6%, but that's not going to be too tough. The team will be able to stick together and continue on pretty fast. Now over the next few kilometers, you're going to have a few small rollers, but nothing to be too worried about until the 3.2 kilometer mark. This is where you get your first full force of London and a solid 5% climb. Now I'm sure you've done this climb multiple times if you've Zwift raced it at all, but just know that this could lead to a few issues starting off with your team. Make sure you bunch up and get together to the top as fast as possible. Now at this point, I think a lot of people are worried about Box Hill. Now you're going to see a bunch of descents and flats over the next few kilometers, so just take it in, love up the scenery, and put your head down and grind. I think a lot of teams will give up a little bit of effort because of this, and you just need to keep the power down. The higher average speed you have here, the better your time will be, and this may be a part where you can break with other teams. Now at the 10.5 kilometer point, you are going to be coming out of the tunnel towards a small incline. There's nothing crazy about this. It's a 3% incline with maybe a peak of a 5%er. I would just stick to your normal drafting groups and not get too worked up about this, and keep the power down and keep grinding. Because at this point, everything leads towards Box Hill, and anyone who's saving their legs for Box Hill is going to lose a ton of time during these flats. Now coming into 14.6 kilometers into this race, you're going to run into the Escalator Descent. This is kind of the breaking point of, we're going to do something incredibly tough here. And that's exactly what you're gonna do. Box Hill comes up in less than a kilometer, so make sure everyone knows the roles, what you have decided as a team to do. Is it bunch up, trying to get up the hill as fast as possible? Or are you gonna have someone just completely gun it and kind of chase them and hop on their wheel? Whatever it is, figure out what you're doing, because there's not a lot of time left before the climb. Now, Box Hill officially starts at 15.6 kilometers into this race. It averages a 4.3% and is about 3 kilometers long. Now, I'm not really expecting anything different, but this is going to make or break your time. I will note that 7 to 8% goes throughout most of this race, and it dips down to 5% in other spots. Now, these lower percentages are nice to think about in theory, but in my opinion, they're very dangerous. They're kind of the danger zone of this climb. I've definitely hit these spots, and in big races where my heart rate is already high on Box Hill, I've hit these spots and kind of lost an edge and slipped out of other drafts, or I just don't have the right gearing to keep going at that current speed. Now, once you get to the top at the 18.3 kilometer mark, this climb is not yet over. We still have Dead Man's Lip. I'm not pretty sure that's not what it's called, but this is what I'm calling it. It's Dead Man's Lip. It's a solid 10% incline climb that you're gonna have to hit with some speed, get over, and then you have Box Hill's Descent. At this point, you can either push down the hill a little bit, getting a high speed, and going towards the Escalator Climb, which starts officially at 22.2 kilometers. If you haven't done this climb before, it is a 15% incline climb, and you're gonna wanna put the power down. This is gonna be a big part of if you have the legs or not to finish this race. And remember, you do need 4 teammates at least to cross the line for an official time to be stamped. Now, with 1.5 kilometers left in this race, all you gotta do is keep your head down, keep those pedals spinning, and make sure you get a good time, because I think times are gonna be quite spread out with Box Hill. And make sure you just get 4 across the line at a fast point in time. Hopefully no one has any issues, and teamwork is everything. All right, so that is it for this second team time trial of round 1, stage 4 of this year's Zwift Racing League. Now, we have quite the course next week of Glyph Heights. Make sure you check out that review. And if you like these, as always, hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and as always, I'll have the whole route right after this. So thank you for watching, and can't wait to see you next time. I'm done.